Today we are taking a look at set 6046 Hemlock Stronghold from the Dark Forest line, which is a subtheme of Castle. It was released in the year 1996 and originally retailed for $24, and according to the box is 213 pieces. These right here are the instructions showing what the box art looks like, and I really do not like the look of this set overall. It's just kind of all over the place with the Stronghold and the two catapults, and just everything going on here doesn't really do much for me. Although on the back here we do have 3 alternate builds, and I gotta say I think all 3 of these are stronger than the main build of the set. And I really think it's unfortunate that LEGO never posted instructions for their alternate builds or never provided more than one picture. So as it stands, it seems pretty unrealistic that you would be able to rebuild any of these from just the back pictures, although I did try to build this one here. And I got kind of far, but definitely nowhere close to finishing it. So let's go ahead and start building. So here we have the completed set, and first we'll take a look at our minifigures. This is our first unnamed forestman. He's got a pretty interesting hairstyle and mustache here. The whole thing just looks really scraggly and gives him a funny look in my opinion. And then he's got his brown Robin Hood hat with a small blue feather. And I love these little feather accents. And I think it complements his blue arms pretty nicely. And he's got a cool brown chainmail with some silver detailing there. And this guy's fully decked out with a bow and arrow and a sword. Then our next minifigure here is definitely my favorite in the Dark Forest line. I like the brown with green accents, and the red feather for detailing is a nice touch. He's got this pretty cool sleeveless vest look going on here, with a bunch of belt buckles all around. And I much prefer this guy's face printing. And then again, he has a bow and arrow as well as a quiver on the back. And then we've got a Royal Knights figure who's just a pretty standard crossbowman. He's got the Royal Knights insignia on his chest. And we've got a second Royal Knights figure, this time with a red torso, as well as a Royal Knight shield and a short sword. And then that very common mustache face print. And then our last figure is this classic skeleton with dangly arms, bringing us to a total of 5 minifigures, which is pretty respectable given the set's original retail price. So before we move to the main build, the Royal Knights have this little treasure cart that they're apparently transporting through the woods and about to get ambushed for. And again, we see some translucent studs on the inside to represent gemstones. And so here's the actual set build put on a 16 by 32 base plate. And I've got to say I am not too fond of this build. The Stronghold portion of it is not very big and looks pretty odd just with this huge gaping hole going down the center of it. And it also seems weird that there's just a jail cell built into the middle of the mountain here. And then they've also got a catapult on top, which works just how you would expect. But then strangely it also has another really large catapult build on the left side of the base plate. And while this is an interesting catapult mechanism, I really don't like that there are 2 in this build, and also this one's disjointed and set completely apart from the main build. Although this one is really unique in that you push down on the back here and it pushes it forward like that. So it goes just like that. And we can again see the Forestman insignia on this shield on the front of the catapult. As I alluded to earlier, we've got a jail cell here that they tell you to put the skeleton inside. Not sure why you need to lock up a skeleton. Although my favorite detail for this set has to be this tiny little well build. I'm not sure why, but I just find something about it to be very quaint, and it does help it seem like they actually live out here. Then to get inside the actual fortress at the base here, this whole rock wall actually slides out, which I do think is neat. Although unfortunately there's not much going on the inside. They've got this tiny little 3-piece campfire build. And then on the right here, they've just got this support column with a tiny little hanger for this sword. So adjusted for inflation, the set would have retailed for $39.85. Although current used prices have it at a rather absurd $103.90. Which I don't think I need to even tell you that this is not worth $100 or more. And the only reason that it does cost this much is, like I said in the first review for this line was only released in North America, and as such is incredibly rare now. So if you just have tons of money burning a hole in your pocket, and you really want a Dark Forest set, I would say get the Dark Forest Fortress and skip on this one. Pretty much the only reason I can see for owning this set is because you want to complete the Dark Forest line. And even then, I definitely feel comfortable saying it is the weakest of the 3 sets. So before I wrapped up this review, I wanted to take a shot at seeing if I could come up with something better than the official build. So I took it all apart and sat with the pieces for a little while, and this is what I came up with. And I certainly think that it looks more cohesive than the original build. So let me just take you through what we have here real quick. Out front, we've got our 2 Royal Knights, and this guy's carrying what I guess would be like a target cart or something. And it can be adjusted in elevation. Admittedly, this was a bit of an afterthought just because I had some extra pieces, and I wanted to make sure I used up all my pieces. So we have our skeleton over here chilling by the well out front, which is pretty much the same as the well build from the actual set, although not exactly. Then we've got our rocks with foliage, as well as the entrance to the hideout. And then torches on either side, as well as our vines hanging down. And then this is the door here, and it actually swings up like this. Sometimes it stays, sometimes it doesn't really want to, it just depends. Then on the left side here, we've got a small little balcony with an arch and some foliage over it. And this is what we've got going on the inside. In the bottom left here, we have a little weapons rack with a arrow and quiver, as well as a crossbow. Then we've got a ladder going up to this little inlet area, as well as a campfire down here, and a tiny little stove with a pot on top. In the center here, we have our adjustable catapult, and I didn't think we needed 2 like the original set. Although this one does also work pretty well, I would say. And then we've got a ladder going up to this balcony area. And underneath that, behind the mountainside, we've got our treasure chest hidden. And that's pretty much it. So let me know in the comments how you think I did, and thank you for watching my review.